The master's dance. In the intricate dance of strategy, where victory hinges on foresight and control, one principle stands as a cornerstone of mastery. Thus the expert in battle moves the enemy, and is not moved by him. Sun Tzu, the legendary strategist, unveils a profound truth about the art of warfare and, indeed, the art of achieving any objective. It's not merely about reacting to your opponent's actions, it's about dictating the terms of engagement, seizing the initiative, and maintaining unwavering control. But what does this mastery truly entail? How does one achieve this strategic dominance? We're about to delve into the heart of Sun Tzu's wisdom. This is the art of control, Sun Tzu's strategic mastery, the essence of control, beyond the battlefield. Sun Tzu's wisdom, though rooted in military strategy, resonates far beyond the battlefield. The principle of moving the opponent, not being moved by them, is a universal key to success in any field where strategic interaction is involved. It's about proactive planning, anticipating reactions, and shaping the environment to your advantage. In warfare, this means dictating the pace and location of the battle, forcing the enemy into unfavorable positions, and exploiting their weaknesses. But consider the chess grandmaster who controls the board, forcing their opponent into a checkmate, or the business leader who anticipates market trends, shaping consumer demand and outpacing competitors, or the negotiator who frames the discussion, guiding the outcome to their desired result. Or even in personal relationships, the individual who maintains composure and direction avoids being manipulated or controlled by others' emotions. The essence of this principle is about agency, the power to influence outcomes rather than being a mere pawn in someone else's game. It's about strategic initiative, calculated maneuvering, and the unwavering pursuit of your objective. The perils of reactivity, losing the initiative. The opposite of strategic mastery is reactivity, being constantly on the defensive, responding to the opponent's moves without a clear plan of your own. Sun Tzu understood the dangers of this approach. When you are moved by the enemy, you surrender the initiative. You allow them to dictate the terms, control the flow, and exploit your vulnerabilities. History is filled with examples of military defeats caused by reactive strategies. Armies that failed to anticipate enemy maneuvers, businesses that were caught off guard by market shifts, and individuals who were manipulated or controlled because they lacked a clear vision and plan. Reactivity leads to a loss of control, a feeling of being overwhelmed, and ultimately, a higher risk of failure. It's like playing chess while only reacting to your opponent's moves. You're always one step behind, and your chances of winning are slim. In the modern world, this translates to being constantly putting out fires, responding to crises, and never having the time or space to pursue your long-term goals. How does reactivity lead to strategic vulnerability? What are the telltale signs of a reactive approach, and how can we break free from this pattern? The key to avoiding reactivity is to cultivate a proactive mindset. This involves anticipating potential scenarios, developing contingency plans, and staying one step ahead of the game. It's about setting clear objectives, defining your strategy, and taking decisive action to achieve your goals. Proactive individuals and organizations don't wait for things to happen, they make things happen. They shape their environment, influence outcomes, and maintain control over their destiny. This requires discipline, foresight, and a willingness to take calculated risks. Anticipation and deception, tools of the master strategist. Sun Tzu emphasized the importance of anticipation and deception as key tools for moving the enemy. Anticipation involves understanding your opponent's tendencies, predicting their actions, and preparing countermeasures in advance. Deception involves misleading your opponent, creating false impressions, and exploiting their vulnerabilities. In warfare, this could mean feigning weakness to lure the enemy into an ambush or spreading misinformation to confuse their intelligence. In business, it could mean launching a product that appears to be one thing but is actually another, or creating a marketing campaign that misdirects competitors. In negotiations, it could mean using carefully crafted languages to influence the other party's perceptions and expectations. The goal is to control the enemy's perception, manipulate their decision-making, and ultimately, dictate their actions. How do anticipation and deception give you a strategic advantage? What are the ethical considerations involved in using these tactics, and how can we use them responsibly? Anticipation and deception are not about brute force. They're about strategic finesse. They're about using your intelligence and creativity to outmaneuver your opponent, to gain an advantage without necessarily engaging in direct confrontation. However, it's crucial to consider the ethical implications of these tactics. While deception can be a powerful tool, it should be used responsibly and with integrity. The long-term consequences of dishonesty and manipulation can outweigh any short-term gains. The importance of information. Knowing yourself and your opponent. Sun Tzu stressed the importance of knowing yourself and your opponent. This involves gathering accurate and timely information, analyzing the situation, and understanding the strengths and weaknesses of both sides. In warfare, this meant scouting the enemy's positions, assessing their morale, and understanding their tactics. In business, it could mean conducting market research, analyzing competitors' strategies, and understanding consumer behavior. In any strategic interaction, information is power. The more you know about your opponent, the better equipped you are to anticipate their moves and control their actions. How does information empower you in strategic interactions? What are the most effective ways to gather and analyze information, and how can you use it to gain a competitive edge? The ability to gather and analyze information is a critical skill for any strategist. This involves using a variety of methods, from observation and research to networking and data analysis. The goal is to gain a comprehensive understanding of the situation, identify patterns and trends, and make informed decisions based on evidence rather than intuition. However, it's also important to be critical of the information you receive, to verify its accuracy, and to avoid being misled by misinformation or bias. The art of maneuvering, controlling the flow of action. Sun Tzu emphasized the importance of maneuvering, the ability to position your forces or resources in a way that gives you a strategic advantage. In warfare, this could mean flanking the enemy, cutting off their supply lines, or forcing them into a disadvantageous terrain. In business, it could mean entering a new market before your competitors, securing key partnerships, or positioning your product in a unique way. In any strategic interaction, maneuvering is about controlling the flow of action, dictating the terms of engagement, and forcing your opponent to react to your moves. How does strategic maneuvering give you control over the situation? What are the key principles of effective maneuvering, and how can you use them to gain a competitive advantage? The key to effective maneuvering is to be adaptable, flexible, and responsive to changing circumstances. This involves anticipating your opponent's reactions, adapting your plans accordingly, and seizing opportunities as they arise. It's about being proactive rather than reactive, dictating the pace and direction of the interaction, and maintaining control over the situation. Exploiting weaknesses, finding the chinks in the armor. Sun Tzu stressed the importance of exploiting weaknesses, finding the chinks in your opponent's armor and capitalizing on their vulnerabilities. In warfare, this could mean attacking the enemy's supply lines, exploiting their lack of coordination, or targeting their morale. In business, it could mean identifying a competitor's weaknesses in customer service, product quality, or marketing strategy. In any strategic interaction, exploiting weaknesses is about finding the point of least resistance and focusing your energy where it will have the greatest impact. How can you identify and exploit your opponent's weaknesses? What are the ethical considerations involved in this tactic, and how can you use it responsibly? The ability to identify and exploit weaknesses requires keen observation, analytical thinking, and a willingness to be ruthless, but also ethical. It's about understanding your opponent's limitations, anticipating their vulnerabilities, and using this knowledge to gain a strategic advantage. However, it's crucial to avoid unethical or exploitative tactics that could damage your reputation or have long-term negative consequences. Maintaining flexibility, adapting to changing circumstances. Sun Tzu emphasized the importance of flexibility, the ability to adapt your strategy to changing circumstances. In warfare, this could mean adjusting your tactics in response to enemy maneuvers, changing your plans based on new information, or seizing opportunities that arise unexpectedly. In business, it could mean adapting your product or service to changing market demands, adjusting your marketing strategy in response to competitor actions, or pivoting your business model in the face of disruption. In any strategic interaction, flexibility is crucial for maintaining control and achieving success. How does flexibility contribute to strategic control? What are the key principles of adaptability, and how can you develop the ability to adjust your plans effectively? The key to flexibility is to be open-minded, adaptable, and willing to change your plans when necessary. This involves monitoring the situation closely, anticipating potential changes, and having contingency plans in place. It's about being proactive rather than reactive, anticipating challenges and opportunities, and adapting your strategy accordingly. The psychology of control, influencing perceptions and emotions. Sun Tzu understood the importance of the psychology of control, the ability to influence your opponent's perceptions and emotions. In warfare, this could mean using propaganda to demoralize the enemy, creating illusions to mislead them, or exploiting their fears and anxieties. In marketing, it could mean using persuasive messaging to influence consumer behavior, creating brand loyalty, or tapping into emotional needs and desires. In negotiations, it could mean framing the discussion, controlling the flow of information, or appealing to the other party's emotions. The goal is to control the narrative, shape the perception, and ultimately, influence the decision-making of your opponent. How does psychology play a role in strategic control? What are the ethical considerations involved in influencing perceptions and emotions, and how can you use these tactics responsibly? The ability to influence perceptions and emotions requires empathy, understanding, and a willingness to be persuasive, but also ethical. It's about understanding your opponent's motivations, anticipating their reactions, and using this knowledge to guide their behavior. However, it's crucial to avoid manipulative or coercive tactics that could damage your reputation or have long-term negative consequences. Maintaining composure, the inner fortress of control. Ultimately, the ability to move the enemy and not be moved by him requires inner composure and self-control. Sun Tzu understood that emotional reactions could cloud judgment and lead to strategic errors. In any strategic interaction, maintaining composure is crucial for staying focused, making rational decisions, and avoiding being manipulated by your opponent's tactics. This involves developing emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and the ability to control your reactions under pressure. How does emotional control contribute to strategic mastery? What are the key techniques for developing emotional intelligence, and how can you maintain composure under pressure? The ability to maintain composure is not about suppressing emotions, it's about understanding them, managing them, and using them constructively. This involves developing self-awareness, recognizing your emotional triggers, and learning to respond to situations with reason rather than reaction. It's about building an inner fortress of control that allows you to remain calm, focused, and effective, even in the most challenging circumstances. Conclusion: the art of strategic mastery. Sun Tzu's timeless wisdom, thus the expert in battle moves the enemy, and is not moved by him, offers a profound insight into the art of strategic mastery. It's about proactive planning, anticipating reactions, and shaping the environment to your advantage. It's about understanding your opponent, exploiting their weaknesses, and maintaining flexibility in the face of changing circumstances. It's about influencing perceptions, controlling the flow of action, and ultimately, dictating the terms of engagement. And it's about cultivating inner composure, self-awareness, and the ability to remain in control, even under pressure. This is the enduring legacy of Sun Tzu, a testament to the power of strategic thinking and the art of achieving mastery in any field. How do you apply the principles of strategic control in your own life? Share your experiences and insights in the comments below, and subscribe for more explorations into the timeless wisdom of strategy and the art of achieving mastery.